the wood is not dry. Here I have to dry for maybe 3 weeks. So some experience, someone just gave up and worked 3 weeks, and after that he was working.
From ancient times to modern day, one of the more brilliant building innovations of the Japanese has been Yakisugi. It is simply cedar cladding boards charred on the exposed side. The charring protects the boards from the elements, and the wood will not begin to deteriorate for 20 years or more. That charring of the wood also acts as an insect repellent, as insects don't like charcoal. That's why Yakisugi is so common on traditional Japanese houses. It's relatively easy to make, costs nothing beyond the cost of the boards themselves, and it lasts so long.
That from the Shinin Kumiai, the company I work, and the board it's about between 800 and 900 yen, and they give me also the leftover. So 18 centimeters wide, thickness it's 1.5, and the length is 4 meters. That would be a nice chimney. I think it will be impressive. First time to make it real, in real life, just watching on YouTube until now. A bit excited about.
Two workaway volunteers from France, Roman and Marina, were joining Francois and Noriko for this Yakisugi adventure. The excitement was heavy in the air, but there was a lot to be done before the first fire was started. One of the most important things is planing off the wood. As you can see, those boards are still rough-hewn on one side. There's still bark and they're uneven, and they have to be planed off. Francois has chosen a traditional tool to do the job.
I don't even know the name of that tool, but they do like that. I've never tried before.
Marina was assigned the task of planing. Francois, meanwhile, practiced his supervision skills.
Il met combien de temps?
Je pense que c'est 10 minutes, hein? D'accord. 5 pour faire ça, je pense que c'est à peine un quart d'heure.
Naturally, the planing was a bit bigger job than expected, so some of it was going to have to wait for another day. It was time to get started making Yakisugi. Like many building traditions in Japan, the process of making Yakisugi has been nearly lost to the ages. There aren't many places where you can learn how to make it. But when in doubt, YouTube will most likely point the way, and of course, it did. In fact, there are a number of videos about making Yakisugi, and Francois watched more than a few to figure out the best practices. While there are naturally variations, the basic process was repeated in most of the videos. First step. Using water-soaked ropes, tie 3 boards together into a triangle chimney. Soaking the ropes helps prevent them from burning and allows the fire to spread out into the flue. They inserted small wood props between the boards to provide some separation, and then they tied the boards together with the wet rope. They created a fire starter using wood shavings wrapped in newspaper. They used a ladder to hold the boards at a slight vertical angle so Francois could light a fire underneath. Ideally, the flames would roll up the shaft, scorching the surface of the wood, and finally producing white smoke billowing from the top of the flue. It's important that the flames travel up the board in order to char the entire surface while not doing too much damage to the lower part of the board. The wood should be uniformly scorched, charring from top to bottom. Since the fire is at the bottom, achieving that uniformity can be a challenge. But the first challenge isn't achieving uniformly scorched wood. Long before you reach that goal, you've got to get that fire lit and traveling up the flue. Francois, with the workaway volunteers Roman and Marina, were attempting to achieve that first step, but the fire was not cooperating.
Let's try without spacer.
Things were looking pretty good. Those telltale puffs of smoke were streaming from the top, like a new pope had just been named. It looked like it was going to work after all. Francois pushed away the ladder to allow the fiery boards to drop into the snow. The proof was only seconds away as he untied the boards.
Rien du tout. That's a fail.
Mais effectivement, c'est bien. Là, ça a trop cramé du coup.
Maybe. Wow.
A setback for Francois and Noriko, and a huge disappointment for Roman and Marina, who were set to be back on the plane to France the next day. They wouldn't see success in Yakisugi making, but Francois certainly wasn't going to give up.